Well, hello and welcome to the Moviegoers Society podcast brought to you by Nerdtropolis. I'm your host, Sean Todgewer, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and joining me once again is Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind, which I know I just went over with our intro.
Oh yeah, I was what's funny is sometimes I expect it. This time I was like, I doubt that there's a specialized ballerina intro. And then it started and I said, okay, Sean outdid himself today. So props to you. Pat yourself on the back. I'm a fan.
Thank you. You see, we're very on theme for this episode. We're talking ballerina, of course.
Whoa, whoa,
Before
whoa, 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 whoa. Now, are we just calling it ballerina, or do we need to refer to it every time as from the world of John Wick ballerina?
That's an interesting thing. I there's a lot of people saying that you have to say from the world of John Wick, which yeah, you could do that. I'm just gonna call it ballerina.
If I get the 4K Blu-ray in a few months when it comes out, am I putting this in my alphabetized collection under F or under B? Or do I put it under J with John Wick 1 through 4 and then have it at the end of that?
Well,
How are you
not the end
categorizing
of
it?
four. Well, you put it in the John Wick section, but you put it between 3 and 4.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Okay.
uh, yeah. So yeah, we're definitely gonna dive into from the world of John Wick ballerina. But Drew, I mean, I just feel like there's a lot we've not talked on a lot. First of all, I have a lot of interviews that I've been posting, like crazy amounts. I spoke to Kevin Smith. I talked to Jason Mewes. We talked Dogma, which is such a underrated film. Check those out. They're on their drop list. Also, I saw How to Train Your Dragon. That was epic. That review is up. Mason Thames, my buddy, killed it as Hiccup. It's got a lot of stuff happening soon. But also, I have ballerina interviews. Awesome stuff. Norman Reedus, Len Wiseman, and of course, I'm gonna butcher the last name, but we all know him from Umbrella Academy, and it is David Casanenda. I'm drawing tongue twister.
Castaneda, maybe?
I need to see it to say it because where that tilde is on that end is really throwing me off. I can't even say it. I'm gonna butcher it.
Castaneda, I think.
Castaneda. Oh my god, this is horrible, guys. I'm putting myself on the spot because I'm telling you how difficult it was me for to say it. Tongue twister. But we all know him as Diego from Umbrella Academy. So I have that dropping tomorrow. I mean, I have a lot of stuff I can't even think about. I talked to a bunch of people lately, and I have a lot of reviews. But Drew, you also have some stuff coming up. You have a review dropping tomorrow, I believe, as well, or even tonight.
I do, as kind of our resident A24 guy for Nerdtropolis. I did go see Materialists, which is the newest rom-com from director Celine Song. I don't know, Sean, if you caught Past Lives back in 2023. I really, really enjoyed that movie, and that was her directorial debut, Celine Song. And so this is her follow-up. And there's a review coming. I'm working on it. Hopefully it'll be out soon. The movie comes out in wide release this weekend, but I can say I really enjoyed this one too. It's not quite the emotional roller coaster gut punch that I think that Past Lives was. Past Lives had maybe a little bit more realism, but this movie that stars Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, and Chris Evans. It's so much more than just a traditional rom-com that I feel like it's kind of billed as. It's like a love triangle with these three movie stars. Like, it is that, but it does have that Celine Song kind of realism. You get the romance, you get the, that part of it, but you also get like the horrors of dating and the downs of dating, and you get true emotion and feelings throughout it, while also being a fun movie for a lot of it. So I have a lot of good things to say about this, and we'll have a review up soon.
Starring 3 Marvel actors.
Yeah, we got Madam Web and Mr. Fantastic and Captain America
/ the Human Torch. Yeah.
/ the Human Torch.
We got a lot of movies we talk about all summer long. And I think we're just gonna take them like one film at a time. The last episode was so jam-packed. I think we're gonna start highlighting them individually. I'm excited to talk Ballerina, but I'm also excited to talk How to Train Your Dragon when we do get that chance, because Emmanuel also saw it in IMAX. He said it was amazing. So I'm excited about all the films coming up. I did grab tickets to that Amazon Prime Superman screening happening July 8th before it comes out July 11th, which is my birthday. So I probably might go see it again on that day. But Drew, are you planning on, when are you planning on seeing that movie? Like day of, you're going to wait it out? I wanted to watch it as early as possible. And there might be another opportunity to watch it before the 8th. I don't know. But I'm taking the whole family, a birthday present to myself, to catch Superman in IMAX.
Are all the screenings on the 8th sold out already?
No. So check today. Like,
okay,
maybe check while you're talking to us right now.
I might actually try and do that too, and then hopefully we can see it early and do an earlier episode before it releases. So, because I really am looking forward to it. I think that Superman looks really good. I have a lot of curiosity around it, just with the James Gunn of it all and what he's going to do, and this kind of kickoff of this new DCU.
Yeah, Superman. I mean, it's just Superman. I'll watch it. I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
And I've been rewatching the old ones. I just watched the first 3 Superman movies with Christopher Reeves. So I need to watch Superman 4, which I've actually never seen, although I hear that one is not good. That it's the worst of them.
Is that the one with the comedian? Oh man,
it's got John Cryer as Lex Luthor's son, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Richard Pryor was in Superman 3.
He's in 3. That's the one. Okay, John.
Yeah, I did watch that one.
John Cryer ends up being Lex Luthor.
That's right. They brought him back in. Was that in the CW shows? He played Lex Luthor?
The CW. I don't recall all that stuff so far in the past, even though it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I've been doing my Superman rewatches before leading up to this. So I just need to watch 4, and I do plan to rewatch Superman Returns, which I probably haven't seen since 2006 or 7, around that time. And then I'll watch Man of Steel.
CW's Supergirl. That's right. That's where that was from. CW times. Feels like it was forever ago, but I think it was not that long ago. But yeah, so much going on. So we're gonna take these episodes probably film at a time, just so we can highlight them individually, because there's a lot of great stuff coming out. Today's episode it's kind of a big one for me. It's not just another movie discussion. It's about a universe I'm a really big fan of, a supporter of. I love supporting the world of John Wick. Ballerina was an entry I was super excited about for many reasons, but also seeing how this world was going to expand. We got the Continental. That was okay, but not really what we wanted. And then we had, obviously, 4 came out, and now they're making a Chapter 5 somehow. But also we got talks about an anime series, which I'm super excited about, because I actually know the man behind running that series, and I think it's a series, or it's an animated project, so I don't know if it's a show or movie, but I'm super excited for that as well. But expanding it with a female lead and leaning into that world of the Ballerina world that we got introduced to in the previous films was super exciting. I love the elegance, the chaos, the mythology, all in this world. The Continental is like one of the coolest things to me. We're also getting the Kane spinoff too, so we're getting a lot of world building happening in this franchise, Drew. And this is on a level I didn't see coming since like 2 and 3 came out. I was like, these are just going to be standalone franchise. How is it going to expand? And then we saw it with 4. It's like they're building a lot. They keep world building in every film, which is awesome. And it's only grown and more layered and stylized with every film.
Yeah, I can still remember it vividly because, I'm sure everybody remembers this isn't anything new, but to say when the original John Wick came out, people were just so amused at like, oh, it's this guy and they killed his dog and then he kills everyone. And it's like a pretty simple premise, but still within that movie, they do set up the Continental and a little bit of the world of assassins, but kind of keeps it all like at a distance. It's there, but it's not, they don't fully dive into it until I feel like John Wick Chapter 2 is where it really gets into like the lore of this world of assassins and more into the Continental and the rules and so on and so forth. And it is pretty crazy how this movie that was essentially a pretty small Lionsgate movie back in 2014 when it came out. I mean, it was a
Which
20 to 30 million
it
dollar budget.
struggled to get the money. First of all, I highly recommend everyone watch Wick is Pain. Fantastic documentary. Talks about how Eva Longoria, the desperate housewife, was the one that fronted the money to save production of the first film. They were struggling to finance it, and look where we are now. This epic.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they knew at that time. I'm sure they had hopes for it, but no one knew it was going to be a franchise that 10 years later is 5 films and a TV series deep with 3 potential additional projects on the way, film
I
projects.
mean, it was an indie film, pretty much, is what what it was.
Right.
So when they announced Ballerina, a spinoff in the same universe, I was really cautiously just excited. But spinoffs can be hit or miss with the right care. You can expand ways, impossible ways. Uh, Before we like truly dive in, I know you're a fan of this world, but where does the John Wick series sit for you in terms of modern action?
I would say I regard them really well. I think that 1 and 4 in particularly, I think are really good. I think 2 is probably the worst of them, and I really like 2. So I'll put it that way. It's that kind of franchise where even if you try to rank them, and even the one that you like the least is still really good.
Right. And what I really loved about this world is the side characters at the same time, Outside of Keanu, there's a lot of you're gonna find a character you also like outside of Keanu Reeves. I really thought Ballerina delivered on what we expected. I really thought Ana de Armas was fantastic pick because when did we see her really kick butt? It was in that James 007 with it No Time to Die. We saw that scene and we're like, give her something to do where she kicks butt. And here we are.
They tried to do that in the Netflix movie The Gray Man, where she starred alongside Ryan Gosling, but that is a movie that nobody remembers, despite being directed by the Russos, and it's not good. And there's a lot of action, and she does actiony things in it, but it's been wiped from everybody's memory. But Ana de Armas is an action star.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like she's kind of late. I mean, she's not as young as you would think. But her career started a little later, but she started like being in almost everything and kind of just accelerated her career. And this is where we are now, giving her a John Wick spinoff with Ballerina. She completely owns this movie. She's physical, emotional. I really love the way she fights in this. Like her whole backstory is really interesting. What did you think about the backstory of Eve? Obviously, they show a young Eve in this house with her dad as this whole group comes in and tries to take her away.
Mhm. I thought it was okay. I think the intro and maybe the first like 30 minutes of the film, I struggled with it a little bit until it started to pick up steam for me later on. There is a lot of backstory in introducing her and how she came to like this dance school, that if you dance school. um there were some good action scenes in it, but I feel like I was kind of waiting for the movie to really pick up during some of these
I
parts.
mean,
But
I was surprised though that who her dad was. Speaking of, and I say that in our interview, that I had no clue that we were gonna have him as Eve's dad. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. What I just said his name is Costin. I could not. That name is gonna bother me forever. But David, I got to speak to, and I told him that I actually did. You know he was in this movie because I didn't know.
I did not.
And I told them that I felt like I was Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen and be like, I did not know Diego's in here from Umbrella Academy. And he was really good in this role and it was very surprising. And I was talking to him, it's like, you could definitely have your own kind of spin-off as well, because your character has a very interesting backstory that does get highlighted in Ballerina, but we don't get too much of it. And he was just talking about how his fighting style was, they talked about the fighting style for his character, and it was kind of to disarm and not hurt or kill. So it's very interesting at how they take people's fighting styles into play when they're crafting these films. Just like Ana de Armas, her fighting style was sloppy because she's so new to this in the assassin world too. And so that's what she was saying. So hopefully when we do get a ballerina too, like she's more tight in her fights, but she said it was sloppy on purpose. And stunts and fighting choreography it plays a big deal in this franchise, which I really, really love. Were you surprised about Ana de Armas and some of her moves and some of the action shots?
I liked that part of it, what you're talking about, the kind of learning curve of it, because I think it's a good contrast to the other John Wick movies, where like in John Wick, once the events of the first film are set up, it's like John Wick doesn't have to be trained and learn how to fight. He already knows how to fight, and we hit the ground running there. And here we're actually seeing the backstory and the training and what goes into it. And I think I did enjoy the sense of confidence that she gains through the film. That is a true arc that you see, and it's believable with the pacing of the movie.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a slow start. I will agree with you on there because we do see her childhood and kind of how she gets into this little ballerina, club, I guess I would call it, and then how she runs into John Wick, which is very interesting because this movie takes place, I guess, during three, technically, not between three and four. It's like a midway point in three. I just couldn't figure out exactly which scene it was because they did reshuffle a scene from three into this and kind of reshot it in a certain way to connect it. But let's talk about the action because there's one scene that's in my head right now. Uh, Ice skates as weapons. Did you see that coming at all?
That was good, and I feel like that's in the kind of latter part, right? Like that's in the kind of final
I mean, we
town.
get a lot of things. We get a flamethrower.
Yeah, we
Like
get a lot of
we get a
flamethrower.
lot of weapons, a lot of fighting, a lot of dead bodies compared to the other films. I think the count might be higher or just as high as the last film. I wasn't
I'm
counting though.
I'm looking. I just saw in the comments we've got Emmanuel said the movie felt like expanded DLC video game content in a good way. I do kind of agree with that.
It's like a side quest with a new character, and it totally works because we're all still invested in John Wick himself. So it's very hard to see how much we can show love to a new character, but with Ana de Armas leading the way, it works. We'll see what happens with the Kane spinoff.
I do think that this movie, I understand from a marketing perspective why they have to, you know, promote it the way they are. Like with the whole from the world of John Wick, showing Keanu in the trailers, all that. I get it. I do think that if you took Keanu out of this movie entirely and you
What?
took out
Take
the from
what?
the world of John Wick,
Take Keanu out of this
I'm not
movie?
I'm not saying I'm just saying that if you did, I think the movie still stands on its own pretty well. It's not like amazing necessarily, but like you could take Keanu out and the movie's fine. I understand that from a movie studio perspective and you wanting this movie to make money on par with what the other John Wick movies, especially four, have made in the past. Like this is a franchise and you want it to make franchise money. But the movie there's like a lot of rumors and things about like the reshoots that had to happen with Chad Stahelski kind of coming back to oversee some things and did they add more Keanu into the movie or not because they were worried about it, so on and so forth.
Well,
If
this
that's
is
what
what
they had
I
to
know.
do,
I will share what I know. Okay. First off, Ballerina was written by Shay Hayden. Shay Hayden wrote three and four, I believe, co-wrote those. I think he's this young kid. He created Ballerina as like an original story, nothing to do with John Wick. But he was working with Lionsgate or whatever team he's working with, and they saw it and they said, "This is something we can incorporate into John Wick. Let's do it." So
that
that's how
makes
they.
sense.
Yes. So that's what happened with this whole ballerina world. Similar to the Continental, that was like an afterthought that they could expand on the Continental. That there was one on every, as this franchise expands, they're just grabbing ideas. They have great writers, great teams, and Ballerina was just a script that was sitting there, and they decided to just swallow it into the world of John Wick, which works. They maybe added certain things to it. Len was there, so and Chad was there too during all these shoots.
Right.
So they just want to maybe just elevate it. Because Len is a fantastic director. Len Wiseman came from the world of Underworld, you know, Underworld and Live Free and Die Hard. He is awesome. He loves this world, big fan of it. But you have Chad, and Chad comes from the stunt world, so like that's probably some of the reshoots that happen is just to optimize the stunts and the action sequences, because
And
that is a whole different grit and vibe that not everyone can capture, because we don't see it in other films. No one can replicate what Chad created. And if you watch Wick is Pain, you can see it's almost a trademark pretty much of what this is in the world of John Wick. And that's probably some of the reshoots and just some of the add-ons just to elevate the film.
and I know that's what they're saying and everything. I've just seen some things in like the journalism behind it, like behind the scenes stuff, that part of the initiative there was to get more Keanu into the movie. And I don't know if that's, with some of the action scenes that they were adding to it. And I don't know if that's, I don't think they've confirmed that or not, but still, it's like, I don't even think you needed to do that. Maybe they were adding other action scenes in general, but I do think that there's some really solid action in this movie, but I don't think any of the action in this movie overtakes any of the big set pieces from the actual Wick movies. Like, it seems like the best action set pieces are still reserved for that, although there were some in this movie that I really enjoyed. You mentioned
There
the
was
ice
ice
skate.
skates, the plates, the whole town, that snowy town towards the end, as you see here, the snowy town stuff was amazing, I thought.
That is when I felt like the movie really started to cook for me. I was enjoying it. I feel like it kind of picked up when you get to the Continental. There's a big scene at the Continental where we meet Norman Reedus's character. But then from there, when they go to this Austrian town, I thought everything there was really great. And there are some really cool, like there was another part in an action scene that stuck out to me where she's like, I don't remember if it's a grenade or it throws a grenade, but then hides, like gets behind. No. She throws it behind. Like there's a bad guy behind a big metal door, and she
Oh, it's like in
throws
the
the grenade
arsenal
back
where she goes to
there.
get some weapons. She gets the
And then
weaponry.
she holds up against the metal door, like where the door basically creates a triangle between the walls and the door. And like I thought that was really clever. Like things like that stuck out to me as like, oh, that's really neat. And that's what you want from these movies, right? You want those moments where you say, man, that was cool. I've never seen that before.
Well, and speaking of Norman Reedus, I thought he was a great addition. Definitely underutilized, I will say that, but it was great to have him in this, and that means he can be part of this world even further. He comes from a world that he knows how to handle action. Love the Boondocks, Saints, and that's a hoping a third one comes out. But that's kind of where he got his start. But like to see him in this franchise is fantastic, especially with the Walking Dead success. And speaking to him, he said that Ana really took this fiercely and seriously. And then when he was shooting that scene you're talking about, the Continental, where everything's exploding, all the charges were kind of set up, and he had to watch where his head was going because things were just exploding left and right. So some really great insights from my conversation with Norman on that. Definitely think he can come back in some force. I thought he was a great addition. His character's pretty interesting as well, because he's not really a bad guy per se, but probably has a darker past that we don't know about. Speaking of the Continental, uh, I love the fact that we got to see the late Lance Reddick to come back as Sherrod. I think it's wild when they shot this, because they shot this a while ago. I don't exactly know when they did, but the fact that Lance was able to be a part of this uh, feels like they were able to shoot this really early on, as before 4 came out.
It looks like they shot it from November 2022. Let's see, throughout the month in December. Let's
Yes,
see.
so they shot it before 4 came out, which is
And I
wild how
actually,
quickly they were putting this together. They knew they wanted to do this.
yeah, they were filming it in late 2022, basically, probably into 2023. And Lance Reddick unfortunately passed away in March of 2023. So, is this confirmed to be his last on-screen appearance?
I don't know. A lot of things been popping up of other stuff that voiceover and other things. I mean, there's possibilities of maybe more. I always bring this up. I love his Lex Luthor in Kite Man. I mean, that was a joy to see as well.
But
There
it
might be a
just goes to show how busy he was, and how many, because it's kind of incredible at how many on-screen appearances we've gotten from him. John Wick Chapter 4, when it was released, was right around the same time that he passed away, and everything I feel like I've seen him on screen a lot in the past 2 years, and every time
He's a
it
busy man.
happens, it just reminds you, and it's so sad.
Yeah,
But
he
it
was a
is
busy
awesome
man.
to see him in this.
Yeah, I was a busy man, and I spoke to Len about this, about, his memories of, anytime I can talk to someone that worked with Lance, I will bring it up, because he was such a great my first in-person interview, and the 15 minutes I had with him just changed my whole life, and we got to nerd out obviously together. So I will always bring up that opportunity. I will always bring up any chance I get to shine a light on Lance Reddick. Just shared a reel on my Instagram, the Nertropolis Instagram as well, of Len talking about Lance, and just it was a class act, pretty much. And that's what Sharon, he said, Lance and Sharon were pretty much the same person. And hearing Lance talk about how he came up with the backstory for Sharon himself and kind of pitched it, and they accepted it, is pretty awesome too. Like, he created this character pretty much. He worked with what they gave him on paper, but kind of created this character that everyone loved. Ian McShane is back as well. Uh, but seeing the part of the Continental was awesome, but I wish we got more Continental. Emmanuel told me this before, that felt some of the Lance Reddick scenes felt off, like they added Anna later in post, but I don't believe that at all, especially how early they filmed this as well. Maybe some of the stuff with Keanu was added later, because Keanu is also very busy and also likes to take some time off, because he was also, I don't know when he was touring with Dogstar with his band, and he was doing some other projects as well. So, but other than that, I felt like the new cast was awesome. What do you think about the supporting cast? Who stood out to you from the new or familiar faces?
Let me see.
Angelica Houston was awesome coming back. I really like that.
She's great. Gabriel Byrne, who played the antagonist, the Chancellor, I thought was menacing and was a good villain. Of course, Norman Reedus is always just a presence when he shows up, but I agree with you. I'm like a little underutilized. Could have used a lot more of him. But that does feel like it's a lot of setup. Like, I don't think we've seen the last of his character in this universe. Yeah, I think those are and then of course, like Ian McShane. You can't have a Wick movie without Ian McShane as well.
I love also, just like Lance Sherrod, how important Ian McShane is in this franchise as Winston. Really the biggest connector outside of Keanu is John Wick to this world. And like you said, if you could have done without Keanu, but I think we couldn't have done it, I don't think, without Winston.
Well, and to be clear, I'm not saying I could have done without Keanu. That's not what I'm saying at
I mean,
all. Because I do like
the movie was
seeing
fine
Keanu.
without Keanu. Adding Keanu is just an extra, cherry on top. The movie
Exactly.
could do on its own without it. But I don't think it could have done it without Winston, is what I'm saying. I think Winston is this connecting piece to this world, especially when you got the Continentals going and everything else. That Winston is been around a long time.
For sure. If you don't have Winston or Sharon, then you take off that from the world of John Wick, because then it really doesn't exist in this world. I feel like you have to have them with the Continental name for it to exist in the world of John Wick.
Right. And the fact that we know Keanu's in here and we saw him, I didn't think we are going to get as much as we did. I was actually very surprised how much Keanu is in this film. We could say, like, some people might say he's not in it enough. I was actually surprised we got this much. I didn't think it was going to be this kind of one-on-one battle for a little bit. I didn't think he was going to be that intricate early on too, with that little passing between the two of them. I just thought it was going to be a cameo, but it's not a cameo, guys. I'll tell this. You cannot label this as a cameo. This is definitely, he's in the film. He's part of the movie, part of the story, and part of definitely the climax of the film. I will say that.
If there was any more of him, though, it would have been too much, and I feel like you'd be taking away from Ana de Armas in the movie. They do it well.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, just looking, like, I just love this. This is one of my favorite shots from the film. This is just the fierce of Ana de Armas. Really is a star, an action star. She worked so hard for this film, which is really fun. We don't get many rated R action films. They're very rare, and then when they come in the summertime, there's the best time to watch them, and a great way to expand the world of John Wick. For me, Ballerina is just not a great spinoff. I think is a really beautiful extension of the world. The right way to do it without seeming like a cash grab, because, like I said, this story came before it getting connected to John Wick, so it was already a standalone film. They decided it fit perfectly in this chaotic world they were building. And I just loved Anna's performance, and I love the stylized action with Len at the helm, and then Chad being part of like making sure all the stunts are like John Wick esque, and that grit is there. And I think that's what's so awesome about this is the grit of the film because it's there.
And just to reemphasize, and I don't say this as a knock against the movie because I genuinely don't mean it as such, but what you're saying about it was written as its own thing, and then they said, "Hey, actually, we can incorporate this into the Wick world." That makes sense from what I saw on screen because, like, you can see there's a movie here that doesn't have any of the Continental and Wick stuff in it that makes sense, and it's has its own well developed characters and world and everything. But I do think it was an overall smart move to add it in there. It fits. You have the ballerina stuff, the dance school set up in I think back in John Wick Chapter 3. You fit this right in.
Well, that's where it originally came from, I believe. I think that's where they grabbed the ballerina and put it in 3 from the
Okay, so they
script.
had this already.
I
Put the
believe
ballerina
so.
stuff in 3, so that a few years. Well, that makes sense.
You can fact check me on this, but I believe that's where the idea came from. They put it in 3 and then decided to put this new film.
That makes sense. When did 3 come out? 2019?
Man, time flies.
Yeah, 2019.
That's all I can say. I don't recall.
Sean, when I saw John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, the full title, I saw that. It was before I had kids, so I could do this kind of thing. Alamo Drafthouse had a, 3. They showed John Wick 1, John Wick Chapter 2, and leading to the premiere of John Wick Chapter 3 on a Thursday night. So I watched 1, 2, and then the premiere of 3 all back to back to back. It was so many bullets. It was so much action. I love movies and like this franchise, but watching 3 John Wick movies back to back to back is a lot.
It can be exhausting. I can see that. Like I can definitely see that. Emmanuel says, what if Ballerina helped fake John Wick's death to set up John Wick 5? Just my personal fan fiction. That's pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure Shay Hayden's around. Shay Hayden is working with Chad to put together a story. I'm pretty sure because he helped co-wrote 3 and 4. I remember speaking to him and the other writer, which I have all those interviews on our YouTube channel in Metropolis. But they're at it. They're working on something that's going to make sense. And I don't think anyone believed John Wick was dead. I think John Wick the assassin was dead, not John Wick the man. I don't know. Something's that's what I'm thinking about. So I think that was just his way to kind of lay low.
Has there been any? I know they've announced John Wick Chapter 5, but is there any real movement there? Like, have they? Do they even have a script?
They got a story coming. I mean, they got some type of story, and then there's a new animated prequel to the John Wick franchise. That's coming, which I'm super excited about. And Keanu Reeves will voice John Wick in that, so he's connected. He's not leaving this franchise at all. So that's super exciting, and that's gonna be directed by Shitten and Tyndall, who did Ultraman Rising. So
okay,
it is an anime film. It's a film. It's not a show. So now I have confirmed that. So that's gonna be exciting to see. I mean, they're expanding this world as much as possible. And I know Emmanuel said at some point, he said avoid the Continental TV series. It is horrible. Yeah, it's not the best. Just because it was a separate project away from Lionsgate and from Chad. It was just like an independent project away from the creators and the people that really know the world of John Wick, and they kind of added some things that maybe didn't work and they didn't want to establish for some of the characters. That's where I'm at that. But I mean, it's an interesting concept to go that far back for the Continental. But other than the John Wick anime film prequel, I kind of want to see everything moving forward. Ballerina needs to move forward. I don't want to see anything in between. The Kane film hopefully takes place after 4, just like the kind of end credit scene, and just follows up on that. I don't want to go backwards in anything. I just want to move forward. Kind of tired of these in between stories and prequels. I just want to see things move forward.
You gotta slot things in. Although I will say this is better done in that regard, weirdly enough, than like Black Widow was, where like the character had already died and you're like, why do I care about this thing that happened in the lead up to Civil War, or whatever, or
because they have the Red Guardian. That's why that movie worked so well for me, Black Widow, because of the Red Guardian, honestly.
But that like slotting it in a little too, almost too little too late. Although I actually like Black Widow. I defend that movie a little
Me
bit,
too.
but this one, I guess maybe because it's focused on a different character, the slotting in between other entries in the franchise works a little bit better for me. I am curious, Sean, where do you rank? Like, I'm not saying you have to do an official ranking of all the John Wick movies right now, but where would Ballerina fall on your rankings of the main entries of the franchise?
It's hard because it's not a John Wick film in my eyes. Like it's adjacent, right? So like it's really hard to put it against a John Wick actual film, right? But I would do like the first John Wick and then 4 and 3, put that and then put Ballerina in there and then end with 2.
Okay, that's fair. I would say, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, my instinct was Ballerina's probably at the bottom of my rankings, but again, like, I liked this movie. So that's that's not damning this movie by
It's hard
saying
to
that.
do.
Like,
Yeah, it's hard to place it in a place against all the amazing John Wick films. It doesn't. It's kind of a disservice to the film because it's Anna kicking butt on her own with no help. Like that's what's awesome about this. It's to me the cast in this film was felt very small, despite you having a lot of people in this film. It's
agreed. Yeah.
very focused on Anna and everything else. It's solely on her and then everyone around her and how she's navigating this life and her revenge story and everything else
It
on
is kind
that.
of amazing how they can do that with the exception of I'd say John Wick Chapter 4 and to an extent 3. It is kind of interesting how they're able to really self-contain these movies, and even as the budgets get a little bit higher because this is a successful franchise, it still doesn't feel like this huge movie. 4 probably did a bit more. I mean, 4 was almost 3 hours long and had some just set piece after set piece after set piece after set piece. John Wick Chapter 4 had what I wanted Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning to have. It just like I just needed more set pieces for that movie to be the final entry. John Wick Chapter 4 delivered on that front. It was almost too much. I'm like, okay, we're 3 hours of action. Like, give me a break.
The roundabout scene in John Wick 4 with the car, like, let's keep going 5 more times around. Let's keep
And I
going.
just think of that classic, like the kind of top down, almost video game seeming scene and how cool that was. Like that stuff
That's
still
why I
sticks out in my
highly
mind.
recommend Wick is Pain, the documentary. I think you can rent it online, like on Amazon and other places you can get rentals, because that's the only way right now you can watch it until someone picks it up for streaming. But Wick is Pain is a fantastic documentary because I don't know why they thought to have the cameras rolling before they started filming the first film. Like there's so much behind the scenes stuff from the first film prior to them even starting the filming on that is amazing. Just like coming up with it, scouting, just creating the companies, just a lot of stuff. It's wild how far this franchise has come, which was just an independent film. Drew, what is your star rating for this film out of 5 stars?
I'm probably like about a 3.5.
That's good. That's pretty good. That's a solid rating from Drew. And then so I sit at a 4 out of 5 stars for Ballerina. Oh, I'm sorry, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina, as Drew likes it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I probably have 1, 4, and 3 all as like 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
1 might even be a 4.5. I guess I love that movie. 2, I have a step down as like a 3.5. So Ballerina is kind of right there as like a 3 or a 3.5.
It's really good, and I think some people don't understand how actually great entertainment it is. So hopefully, if you haven't seen it yet, grab your tickets. It's really a wild ride. It's really a great adults night out. Don't take the kids to this one. But especially if you've been with the universe from the start, like I have, like it's really awesome film, a great addition. As Emmanuel says, let me say right here, the flamethrower gunfight is worth the movie ticket price itself.
I mean, that's fair. And I will say, kind of like going back to my take on it, is that if you were like me and maybe the beginning like the introductory scenes aren't grabbing you as much, and stick with it, because I do think that once a large portion of this movie takes place in that Austrian town we referred to.
Yeah.
And to me, the movie is cooking with gas at that point. It's like, I think it is worth the price of admission just for getting to that scene and how it doesn't let off the brakes. And I just love the idea of this. isolated, wintry Austrian town that seems like this just kind of small town, and then there's a lot more going on there than you realize with the residents.
Everyone's an assassin in this town, pretty much. Kids and adults. It's a vicious little small town. I will say that.
I love that. I love that. As soon as this outsider comes in, and it's all quiet until things go haywire, and then everybody's after this girl. I really like
the
that.
plate scene with all the plates. I love that. I mean,
Yeah, everything in that like Austrian restaurant was so good. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it is fantastic. So that wraps it up for another episode of the Moviegoers Society. Make sure to follow and subscribe for all our, episodes every week. My interviews, our reviews on nerdtropolis.com, our socials. We're dropping all our reels and all this news on there. We got so much coming your way. Maybe some hot takes coming soon. But thanks for hanging us tonight live. If you're watching this live, appreciate y'all joining us, or on replay. But until next time, I am Sean Toshworth, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and
I am Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind.
And we'll
see you at
the movies. Thank y'all.